All right, so we are back, and this time we're going to be talking about how to get microgrants, scholarships, and fellowships. So, how to get that money.
Yes. Pew, pew, pew.
And I'm also excited that in this episode, we're going to be introducing our first guest.
Yes. So excited for that.
This is The Hidden Critique, where we discuss art, race, and higher education at the intersection of an MFA. I'm Marlon Tobias, pronouns he, him.
And I'm Krystle Lemonias, pronouns she, her.
Welcome to our show. So yes, today we have invited a friend and MFA student, Eugene. I don't want to butcher your name. Agyei.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, to share his experience on this topic and learn about his journey to the U.S. as an international student from Ghana.
Wonderful. So
Right.
let me share
Okay.
a bit about your bio. You have a long bio, impressive bio, even though it's shortly, here in the US and doing so much work. But I'm so excited to share some of your accomplishments. So Eugene Ofori Agyei is your full name, and you are an artist and educator from Ghana, now living in Florida. You have earned a BA in 2018 in industrial art, majoring in ceramics from Kumasi, Ghana, and held a position as a teaching and research assistant for a year there. You currently are in your final year as an MFA graduate, soon to be postgraduate as a research assistant and GA in Florida. And you have been a recipient of the University of Florida's Grinter Fellowship Award in 2020, 2021, and in 2022 was awarded the Art Axis Fellowship Award and the Herald Grant Graduate Studio Art Award. You have had solo exhibitions at Art Center Sarasota in Florida, foremost SAAH Florida Gallery, and Bo Diddley Plaza and Sculpture House Gallery in Florida. And your work has been included in other numerous group shows. Very impressively, in April 2020, you had an exhibition where at the Marine Arts Center, where you were named one of the emerging artists of Florida in the Fresh Squeeze 6 exhibition. You've also been a winner of the Pathways 2022 Carlos Malamud Prize at the University of Central Florida Gallery and Rawlings Museum of Art. And that came with a $10,000 prize. You have a solo show currently at the Rawlings Museum of Art in Winter Park, and it's open until August 27 for those that have not seen it. So congratulations on all of that. And we're really so excited to have you on the show to have this conversation with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, Eugene. So, how we start our shows before we get into the topic, because mental health is important in life, especially when you're living an artist entrepreneur lifestyle. I'll start with this one question, and that is, how is your heart?
Great. I mean, my heart is full of joy, you know what I mean, and happiness because, like you said, mental health is really important. And I mean, for you being an artist, I feel like you also need to take care of yourself. So personally, yeah, my heart is full of joy, especially about what we're doing right now to share, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm feeling great and, I'm excited about this.
Awesome. Awesome. How about you, Chris?
My heart is feeling really full today. Had some good news this morning, and I'm here speaking with other fellow artists that are in a similar space of growth as myself. So I'm very grateful to be in each of your company. How about you, Marlon? How's your heart?
I'm gonna go off of my first emotion, which is excited. We've definitely come a long way with our podcast, with what we're doing in our own personal careers and endeavors. And I'm really just excited to see things building and seeing what they're going to build into. So I'm definitely coming into this with an excited spirit.
Awesome. That's so good to hear.
Yes,
That's
yes.
great.
So let's get into it, guys. So yeah, we're talking
Yeah.
about essentially how to make more money or how to apply for grants, how to apply for scholarships, how to understand what you're qualified for. But I also want to get a little bit of a background on you, Eugene, because your journey to MFA had a lot more expenses on the front end because you were an international student. And
Right.
uh it takes quite a bit of work to do that, but also just to come to the decision to leave your home country to pursue your education. And I'm sure there was a lot of decision making and grappling with that final decision to say, yes, I'm going to go here to go to school, right? So in regard to the decision to do that, what did support look like for you to pursue art as your career? Like, and what was like your family saying, and like what was going on in that time period that influenced you to make this decision?
Great. Thank you very much, Marlon. Thank you, Krystle, for having me. Thanks for the nice introduction. It was a lot. But yeah, going into business about the question that you asked, I think is really interesting. But I remember, when I decided to pursue this career, you know, in Ghana, the African parents are more interested in this premium like discipline, which is like engineering, medicine, like business, MBA, and this stuff. So pursuing art career, I remember, my mom was like, now you're done with school. I didn't like the idea of you like pursuing this career, which is art. I wanted you to do this. So my mom, I remember she questioned me during my graduation. She was like, what do you want to do now since you decided to pursue this career? And I said I want to be a professional artist and a professor in art. And she asked
Mm-hmm.
how. And I say, yeah, I'll keep on studying. Like I want to have my master's degree. And she was like, are you not tired with school? You know, why don't you get done and start working? Are you not tired? I
Mm-hmm.
can't pay. You know what I mean? Like you need
Yeah.
to work. And
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. So I remember I was like, yeah, I'll find a way out. I want to pursue my education, not in Ghana, but somewhere like, abroad. Then I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know where, either China or US or like either way, but I knew that I have this feeling that I want to pursue this career, outside, Ghana. So she
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay. So I remember I told my mom like, she should just watch me, because I wanted to do something that make me happy. I wanted to pursue my own dream because she wanted me to take over my dad, job and everything. But I was like, that is my dad, job. I want something for myself, which is art,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I don't know how to do it, but I believe that like along the way, something is going to happen. I just have to believe,
Mm-hmm.
what I
Mm-hmm.
want to do. So she was like, okay, if this is what you want to do, you got my support. Prove me
Okay.
wrong.
Mm.
You know what I
Mm.
mean? So then she was like,
Mm.
yeah, you have my support, but I feel for you because I feel like you're always schooling and I don't know when you're gonna get done with
Mm-hmm.
that and
Mm-hmm.
how because we don't have family in abroad in this stuff. So like how? Like, what means? I was like, yeah, I'll find a way out. So, emotionally then I got the support from my mom, like from my family.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though when I was doing it way back in college, they didn't like that idea. But after
Mm-hmm.
college, when I told them like this is what I want to do, so
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, if I mean you've been doing this, you know what I mean, and if you think that this is what you want to do, as a career, you got our support. So I got that emotional support from my mom
Yeah,
in college. So she was just watching me to find a way out.
I see.
Awesome. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So after many conversations, you can say that you got support from your family to
Yeah.
say, okay, I I hear you and I emotionally support
Right.
you pursuing your career. That's
Right.
awesome. And what or who motivated to pursue your degree outside your country? Who first kind of implanted that idea, especially looking for a fully funded university?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Yeah. So going off on that, like after getting that emotional support from my parents, which is my mom, like from my mom especially, you know, right after my college, I got opportunity to study. Like, I was employed for 1 year as a teaching and research assistant in the same school, like what you said, Krystle. And after that, like along the way, I met this professor from US. Her name is, I don't know if it's right for me to mention her name, but her name is Jillian Hulin. So she came to Ghana on a Fulbright scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she did happen to, to do that, fellowship in my school. So then I was also a teaching assistant in the same school. So she saw the way I was working in the studio and making art, my working ethics and those stuff. And she was like, can I see your portfolio? So I show her my portfolio. She's like, oh, so do you know you can pursue, master's degree in the US? I was like, I know, but how? So I questioned her because that's the same question that I got from my mom, but I wasn't able to, answer her. So I was like, how? Because I'm for me personally, I'm thinking about China. But I mean, I read about China, like the Chinese education, the funding package and everything. They all come with full funding, but I don't think that is something I want to do. I want more fine arts, but because I grew up, my school trained me more sort of like a technical way of making, like as a maker, without even knowing the concept and everything. And now I want something new. And looking at the work that I was doing right after my college, during that service time, even my professors then realized that the work has changed. And looking at what I was doing, I realized that no, I don't fit in that environment. You know what I mean? Like China, I don't think China is the best place for me to be. So when she said that, I was like, okay, US, she was like, oh yeah, in the US, we do fine arts. Like we accept everything. We're more interested in the idea, the concept. And I was like, oh, okay, so how? So she just, she's like, okay, just get your portfolio. We need artist statements. You need to get your artist statement, your personal statement, your CV or your resume, and a good like 20 images portfolio. And there's so many schools. So she just showed me one school.
Did you have a lot of that already set up?
The schools?
Like your package as far as like your artist statement and your did you have a lot of that already set up, or
no,
did you have to build that?
No, I have to build that. You know what I mean? I have to do that because China, sort of application is more like a technical thing. Like you just have to show a portfolio and maybe like the application is different, way different comparing to like in the US where you need to write an artist statement, show your personal statements. China is more like your work and your personal statements. Why you want to pursue your master's education, and more like police reports, like criminal records. So it was different from like US application. So she didn't walk me through those processes. So like, oh, you need to write out a statement. Your work need to have a message, an idea. You know what I mean? So she took me through that process. She taught me how to have an idea about work, like conceptual work, contemporary work. And, she showed me those, differences. So I have to go back to the studio again and recreate my portfolio, like do everything. And she was impressed when I did that. She was like, oh, really? So you have to say, yeah, because I did this based, I didn't have any idea. I was just making. And after you taking me through this process, it means that I need to go back to my studio and recreate, get a concept and why I'm making those work. Wow. So she did that.
So you started from scratch. I
started from scratch. So even based on that, she was like, no, seeing this about you, I'm going to give you a recommendation letter, because like going back again and like recreating your work because of what I said, it means that like you love what you're doing, like you have passion for that. So I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do because like I said in Ghana, like people don't really have. So getting like education, like, showing me the way that, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done. I need to do that. So I took that as an opportunity. I went back to my studio and I recreate my work, write an artist statement, personal statement, saving and everything. You're like, just send it to me. So I sent my artist statement to her and she looked at it and was like, oh, yeah, you're good to go. So I did my research and I selected some schools and I was like, this is the schools that I want to apply. I want a school like, in this set of school, like this particular school. So she's like, okay, if this is what you want, just go for it. The boom.
So you literally had her mentorship through that entire process of putting your work together and getting your words, framed and creating that package to send off to these universities.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
impressive.
I got the mentorship from there. Yeah. After the conversation, and she was like, yeah, she was like, oh, I like your energy. I think I'm willing to like, mentor you for you to go through that process. So even I remember in my statement, my recommendation letter, she wrote that. Like immediately I talked to Eugene, she went back to her studio and recreated the whole thing because I should have just used those works that I had previously for my application. But after talking to you, I realized that no, I need to have a concept because the work that I did was just making, you know what I mean? Like just a maker. I was just making the work. So I was like, yeah, I need to go back. And I think she really liked, so she liked that, effort and that passion. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to push you and mentor you and help you to be a better person.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so after that process, what did financial support look like for you in applying to school? What were some of the costs associated to the application fees and some of that experience?
Yeah. It was a lot because,
yeah.
Okay, so we need the numbers though.
Give us some numbers. Yes.
Yeah, the currency, like, Ghana currency, which is a city, you need more, you need more to get just $1, like maybe like, like just $50, like $50. So,
I think I remember you mentioning that the dollar was about 9 cedis to the 1 US at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, okay. 9 cedis at a time. And so what I did was that like I did my research and I selected some of the schools. And even some of the schools that I wanted to go to, I couldn't apply for them because of the cost of application fee. You know what I mean? So I remember like everything with application fees and everything like did cost like estimated around like $1,000. And like I said, I wanted to do that. So like I wasn't thinking much about how much that I'm putting in because I remember she was like, you're gonna get it back, Eugene. And I was like, okay. So I think I remember it did like, cost me like, $1,000 to get, application fee to apply to all those schools. And like I said, like in Ghana, like I need more to just, get, few dollars in the US. So it was a lot. So I think I remember it did cost me like around $1,000 just for that.
And how many schools did you apply to that brought it up to that cost?
I applied to six schools. Yeah, I did apply to 6 schools. And going off on that, I just recall. So I remember that I did the first sort of application and I didn't get. I think I got one school and that school didn't give me funding. So I had to reapply again. So putting all those money together did cost me that $1,000.
Wow.
So that's an average of about $167 per school.
Yeah.
Per application.
Application.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then can you talk a little bit about the fees that were associated with you literally getting, now that you have been accepted to a school and you're now like figuring out how to just get to the US? How much did it cost for you to, apply for the visas and, the whatever documents you needed to be here?
Yeah. Great. You're taking me back. So thinking about that that process, after getting the school, and most people think that, like when you get the scholarship, that is all. But after getting the scholarship, going through that journey of, applying for the schools and those stuff, like you also need to start another journey that go with the visa process. So I remember I need to pay for to get my I-20. That is like an I-20 is a document for international students. So I need to pay for that, and I'll talk about the cost, but I want to talk about the things that I did pay for. So I paid for the I-20, the visa fee application. I need to get my passport, because then, like, it was about to expire, so I need to like renew the passport. So the passport, the I-20, shipping the I-20 to Ghana, I need to pay for that. And I pay for my flight ticket, which is, I also pay for that. And I think I also remember moving now, like in the US, I need to get an accommodation and also, stay for a place for I think almost 2 weeks in a hotel in order to get like that accommodation. So, so I think that did cost me around, I would say, should be estimated to be like I think $3,000, because also I need pocket money. And I remember my pocket money was $1,000. That is like, money that would sustain me for for a couple of time until when I get like, my paycheck and everything. So I remember I had myself, like $1,000, to just sustain me, to pay my bills for the first month, and get some food and this stuff for the first month. So I think everything did cost me around like, I think $3,000 for me to get here.
So just to back it up a little bit, so far with what you've spent on the 3,000 to get your documents, your application fees for all the schools you applied to, and the paperwork. So that's close to a little bit over $4,000 you had to literally spend throughout the process.
And I need to also get all those money, get the money in cities. So that was a lot.
Wow.
In cities. So it was a lot.
So tell me now, going back to your a little bit about your family background. I know that being a person that has visited to Ghana and know a little bit about Ghana, how could you and your family afford this cost? Are you coming from a family that is more middle class and, fairly stable? Are you coming from a family that's low class and had some sort of scholarship support? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I come from a middle class family, and I have we have two siblings, which is myself and my junior brother. And then, my mom is a single mom, So, I remember then my junior brother was like getting to college. So he was also in the college, and I think my mom also had to take care of him. So, I didn't want to take everything, because I'm not the only person like in the family. So I was like, okay, I'm done with college, I want my mom to focus, like put all her energy on my junior brother, because he was in the college then. So what I did was, I knew that, in the near future, like this is what I want to do, but so I started saving up, and I remember like after my college too, I got an opportunity to teach. So, those money, like, the paycheck and everything, I remember like I was just saving up for all those kind of process, because I knew in order to get a support, I need to show my parents or my mom that, yeah, like I have this, please help me. Because I feel like that, that seems easier, because even myself, if I want to help someone, you need to show me that you can, you're capable before I can like do that. So I was like, oh, mom, I have that. So I saved up, and I remember my mom, after everything, my mom supported me. She was like, yeah, I have this. I'll pay for your flight ticket. So my mom paid for the flight ticket, and I was grateful for that, because I was like, I wouldn't have, gone through that process without her, because she paid for that. And the flight ticket then was very expensive.
How much was it?
It was then 6,000 cities.
How much?
And what's that, US?
6,000 cities. Probably gonna be then
close to 2,000, so about 1,900.
Yeah, like sort of, yeah, like 1,900, because then it was like 10 cities. Yeah, so she paid for that, and
and that's
and I remember like, yeah, one-way ticket. Yeah,
but that was in the middle of COVID. That was in the middle of COVID, though.
That was also like in the middle of COVID, like 2020 in December. 2020 in December. So like, yeah. So I remember, yeah, she paid for that amount, and I was like, oh, mom, I have this money in my account, so I can change it to dollars in Ghana. So I changed it, and I think it was roughly like $500, and my mom added $500 to it. And I ended up like getting like that $1,000 and she was like, would this be enough for you? I said, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get work and do everything. So yeah, she helped me, because then, she's a single mom, and she was also taking care of my junior brother in college. So yeah, so then I was like, yeah, I need to help my sister, and my parents can also help me. So that's what I did, and I was able to get a support from my mom.
Wow. Yeah. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, that sounds like a journey already. And you haven't even got to the university door yet.
Haven't even gotten to the classroom.
Not even the classroom, yeah. Marlon, would you like to talk a little bit about some thoughts that you had as we were discussing?
Yeah, so now I'm ready to talk about negotiations, right? So after you got your offers, how many schools did you get accepted into out of you said you applied to 6, right?
Yeah, 6 I did schools. Apply to, 6 schools.
Okay, so how many schools did you get into, or did you get accepted into?
5 schools.
5 schools.
Five of the 6?
Yeah, 5 of the 6. Yeah,
that's some good odds, man.
Right? Yeah, I got into 5 schools, and I did get like early admission too in Ghana. So even my mentor then was surprised and proud about that. She was like, oh damn, like you really got like early admission, which is something that people don't really get it, especially from like from Africa, international, yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know.
And how many of those schools did you get funding from?
Oh, I got funding from all. Yeah, all 5. Yeah, I got funding from all 5 schools that gave me the offer.
God damn it!
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So impressed. Yeah. Okay.
So after you've gotten your acceptance and you've gotten your offers, how did you use them to negotiate the best deal for you?
That's a great question, Marlon. And before like applying to those schools, I was more interested in school that accept interdisciplinary, which is like allowing students to explore different media, like have that freedom to work with all media. You know what I mean? I was looking into schools that, train students to be like an educator and also an artist. Because we have school that, train students to just become like a maker. You come to school, make and leave. But I was looking away there's a saying that you can use one stone to kill two birds. Birds. And so I was like thinking about that idea. So I had those in mind when I was researching, doing my research for schools and everything. So I knew that I was going to get in those schools, because one thing that people normally miss is that when you're applying for schools, you need to read about the school, like the program mission and the vision and mission. So I did that research. So I read about, what they want, what they're looking out for, you know what I mean? Do I fit in there? Because, I'm paying this amount of money and I didn't want to waste all those money. So I did make sure that I'm applying to schools that accept, that will accept my work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and trust me, the other school that I didn't, that I got rejected from, I wasn't hurt because, I knew that, they don't accept those kind of works. You know what I mean? Like, I knew like from onset that, I don't think I'm going to get it. But, the application fee was kind of, less expensive. I was like, let me just give it a try. So negotiation. So when I got into those 5 schools, my mentor was like, I'll leave this for you to do it. You're the one coming. You need to, know where you want to go. You need to make that decision for yourself. So, and I remember I did my research based on that. So I just started asking them questions about one, you're all giving me this funding, you know what I mean? And I realized that with the funding, like, most of them, like, there are variations, some were bigger than the others in this stuff. So, I did consider that, in place based on my negotiation. And some of them were like, okay, we really want you to come to the school. So we are willing to give you fellowship aside the GA. So, the schools like 3 schools in Florida were like willing to do that, which they did. And one school in Michigan was like, okay, if this is what other schools are giving, then we're also going to give you like fellowship. You're going for another fellowship and add it to your GA. So I was like, why are you guys confusing me? And at that moment, I wish I could, I wish I could just go into all those schools because they were all nice. And I mean, I didn't know how to, turn all those schools down. But, so I was able to narrow it down to 3 schools, which is 2 schools in Florida and 1 school in Michigan. So the 3 schools were like, okay, 1 school in Florida was like, okay, so if this is what you're getting from the other school, then we are willing to give you this amount during summer too. Because I don't think those schools are going to pay you. Those 2 are going to pay you during summer, but we are willing to give you some amount of money during summer. And the other school in Florida was like, okay, I mean, I know definitely you're going to get like emails from different schools and everything because your portfolio is good. You have pretty good, like, documents and everything, but we are willing to give you this. And I was like, can you answer this question? I want to make sure, because there are schools that, when you get in, that is all. You don't get any funding, you don't get any support. But, I see myself, I want to be a great artist. I want to be a professional artist, not just any artist. I want to travel. I want to get into residency. I want to do that. And is there any support for this kind of research? And he said, yes, we have support for that. We're willing to give you money if you want to do your residency, if you want to do your research, if you want to travel internationally and everything. So I asked the same questions to like those schools, and based on that answer, the answers that he gave me, I chose the other school in Florida over the 2 schools. So yeah. And I always you need to read the terms, because sometimes people get excited and be like, oh, I just want to go to grad school. But is that something that you want for yourself? You know what I mean? You want to feel comfortable in that space. And trust me, when I make that decision, I get into program, I do apply to different funding aside that, you know what I mean? There's a time they will come every year. Oh, scholarship, you just apply, we got it. If you want to travel, it do happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I make that decision based on the last question that I asked them.
Can you tell us a little bit of details on those last two packages. What did it come down to financially with those two packages in Florida that you were offered?
Yeah, so those two schools. So I'm going to use one, school A and school B. I'm going to use those abbreviations for that. School A was like, oh, we're going to give you 16,000 GA. And school B was like, oh, we have 11,000 GA. But in your first year, we're going to give you 19,000, which is including fellowship, which is school B. So like, we're going to give you 19,000. And the sequence years, you're going to go back to your normal GA, which is 11,000. And school A was like, we're going to give you 16,000 throughout your years. Like you're staying, you're staying in that school, which is 3 years, you're going to get your 16,000. And now they've even doubled it to 17,000.
Oh, wow.
So we're all taking 17,000 a year. You know what I mean?
Because your school is unionized, correct?
Yeah.
So you work under a union contract. So that increase, is that coming from your union contract?
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's like, 17,000. They were like, and 17,000 excluding the fellowship. So they gave me that and they were like, oh, we're giving you 16,000 and also a fellowship. So with the fellowship, you don't have to work for it. They gave me like, okay, you have this fellowship, which is like 2,000 a year. So you don't have to work for that money. You know what I mean? And 16,000, you got to work for that, which is your GA. And school B was like, okay, we're giving you 11,000, but in your first year, you're going to take 19,000, including fellowship. And your sequence years, you go back to your normal one. And so I was like, okay. And school B was like, no one is going to pay you during summer. We are willing to give you this amount of money during summer, which is every summer we pay you, this amount of money for you just to come, you know what I mean, to feel comfortable. And I was like, okay. So they were just giving me those, all fine and good stuff. But I realized that, aside that, what else can you do? Like, I want to travel. I want to get into residency. I want to get funding for my research, do research and, like travel to places. So based on that offer, like when I asked them that question, they were like, okay, that wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't reasonable for me, it wasn't concrete. So that was when I was like, I'm going to choose school A over school B because, I realized that, at the end of the day, school A was giving me more. You know what I mean? They were giving me more over that. Even though school B, it's also like, interdisciplinary, like program, like really good when it comes to like, the idea of allowing students to explore different media, like, which, I'll give it to school B. But there's more to it. I want to survive, especially me being an international student.
Yes, we need to survive as we work.
I need to survive,
Yes. Very, very interesting. Thank you for listening to our episode. The Hidden Critique is produced and hosted by us, Krystle Lemonias and Marlon Tobias. Episodes are edited by Kirsten Pettifor. Original music composed by Cesar Presa.
If you like the show, you can review and rate this podcast via Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube page.
For exclusive bonus content, subscribe to our Patreon at The Hidden Critique.
Or join the Hidden Critiques Discord page to engage directly with us, the host, and build community with fellow listeners.